Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Close-Up. I'm your host, Joe.
And I'm Justin.
Today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man, the greatest hits of Spider-Man in film. Just thinking about our love of the character, and really how this started was we were talking at lunch just this morning with our boss about Spider-Man movies, and he was like, I don't really like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Not a quote, paraphrasing him, but it bothered me. So it got me thinking about all the moments of Spider-Man I love. Sam Raimi, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, Spider-Verse, just all of Spider-Man in film. And the list Justin and I have today are going to be a little bit different. His is a bit more nebulous, not ranked so much. Mine is more ranked and is going to be featuring more moments I think are indicative of why I love the character. Whereas I'm not really sure what you're basing your criteria more on. Like, are you basing it more on like great pieces of cinematic works, moments of why you love Spider-Man more?
Most of mine just comes from the stuff when I'm like, what do I think about when I think about Spider-Man movies and TV and stuff? I'm like, well, I remember this and that was really good and this was cool and that was good. So that's my list. It's just floating of stuff that I'm like, this was memorable enough that I remembered it.
Fair enough. And just to warn you, there are going to be full spoilers for every theatrically released Spider-Man movie. Sorry, but you've probably seen them. This includes Spider-Verse, not the second one personally, because I don't have any from the second one. Sorry. But yeah, let's get into it now, get into our close-up, and getting in my honorable mentions place before I get to my top 10 moments. Number 14, I Don't Feel Good, Mr. Stark. I enjoy this moment because it shows how vulnerable and young Peter Parker is in spite of being a space adventuring honorary Avenger. He's just a kid, and he's been very instrumental up to this point. He's been fighting Thanos. He's been hijacked into space, fighting almost a literal god's army. He's with all these adult heroes. He's with the Guardians of the Galaxy and his mentor, Tony Stark. And then Thanos actually wins. And I remember being so floored by this moment at the time. But it was just a very impactful moment, more than basically every other dusting for me. Because, well, I love Spider-Man as a character, but also because his connection with Tony Stark had been built up so well up to that point, this mentor-mentee relationship. And he really let his dusting breathe more than basically anybody else. He got his spider sense kicked in, and no, I don't feel so good. He seemed to be more strongly impacted by it as it was happening to him.
It was almost like he resisted it. Like, does he have a healing factor or something?
I'm sure he does. I'm not entirely confident on that.
Because he took longer than everybody else.
Yeah.
But it was played off so well. And the reaction from Robert Downey Jr. really sells the moment.
It's like the closest thing I have to a son is dying in front of me because I couldn't stop the bad guy who was right here a second ago. And I think it's also notable for being the one and only time so far we've ever seen Spider-Man die on screen. I don't know if we're ever going to get another. Actually, no, that's not true. We saw him die in Into the Spider-Verse as well. But it was an alternate version of him that we never got attached to.
That was supposed to be the main version from Miles' universe.
From Miles' universe, but we never really saw him except for through Miles' eyes.
No, that's true.
It would be like if in No Way Home they'd killed off Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield or something. It would be like we saw Tom Holland, a mainline live-action Spider-Man, die before our eyes in the big Avengers movie.
Yeah, that's actually pretty crazy to think about now.
Yeah. Haven't seen anything like that before, or I don't know if we're going to. So what was your first one?
Well, you want to get through your honorable mentions first, or?
Well, obviously I'm being talkative about it, but yeah, I'll get through the rest. Yeah. Sure. Oh, because you only got 10.
Yeah.
Number 13, the end of Far From Home when he's just wrecking house with his spider sense on Mysterio's drones.
Oh yeah, that was good.
When his web shooters run out, and I think this might be the first time in live action where his web shooters have just full on run out like in the comics. And he's just got to deal with his, they call it the Peter Tingle spider sense, his strength and his acrobatics. He can't deal with the web shooting element of Spider-Man, which is sort of his whole crutch. So the illusions are going on around him and he's just feeling this out. Whatever the drones are coming to him, and he's just going down that hallway, wrecking house on these drones without any webs, just brute forcing it. Pure strength, smashing the drones together. And as I was rewatching the scene, I was still taken aback by the ending where Mysterio got shot. And in the end, Tom Holland's standing above him and he's talking to a dying Mysterio on the ground. And then he just, lightning fast, throws his arm out and catches a gun as it goes off right in his face. Just at the very end, the cherry on top was it wasn't actually the real Mysterio. Mysterio was right next to him, pointing the gun at his head. And it was just like, wow, this is Spider-Man on the ball. This is...
Well, he had no room for error, too.
Yes, this was the best use of the spider sensibility in any of the Spider-Man movies that I've seen.
It's so subtly done in the MCU where, like...
Most of the time, yeah.
Like, they had debates whether or not he even had it before we got to something like Infinity War was, I think, the first time it was, like, 100% confirmed or...
Yeah. Far From Home was the only one to actually full-on use it as a sequence-defining character trait.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it was Far From Home that solidified it.
Yeah. So this is Spider-Man having to use more of his wits about him and not rely on his main tools. He's got to rely on his finely honed instincts and agility and reflexes, which I think is just refreshing in terms of Spider-Man action scenes in big budget movies. So that's one of my favorites just because of it was just really cool and showed a different side of him. My number 12 is from Homecoming. It was the Vulture twist and interrogation scene on the way to the actual Homecoming.
Yeah, I had that on my list because I love that scene.
Yeah, the first thing is the big twist of, oh, wow, he's the love interest's dad. Wow, that's... Okay, this is connected more than we realized.
Mm-hmm.
But really what it's on my list for is the entire tension-fueled scene of them driving in the car where he realizes, oh, I think my daughter's date is Spider-Man, and he already knows, oh, my date's dad is the Vulture.
Well, it's that difference between all the perspectives going on in the scene that really makes the dynamic show.
He knows for sure. The Vulture doesn't quite know, but is trying to figure it out. And Liz is just oblivious.
Well, and it plays back and forth where he's kind of suspicious. And then sometimes Liz says, or like Tom Holland says something that's like, oh yeah, I'm just doing this. And you can see him play back because they're constantly showing Vulture like in the rearview mirror. You can see him looking and
yeah,
there's a lot of facial emotions going on there, and like it's such a cool dynamic. And then you've got Liz throwing things in the loops where she's like, yeah, he works at Stark Industries with Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man, you say? Yeah.
Yeah, and he left that party. You were gone for a really long time.
Yeah, and it just...
Oh, were you?
You could practically sit there and take the scene and play with like a needle going back and forth and being like, oh, he thinks he's Spider-Man. Oh, no, he doesn't. No, he thinks he's Spider-Man. No, he doesn't. Oh, he thinks he's... Oh, no, it's too far.
Hey, Liz, you go on, honey. I'm going to stay and give Peter the dad talk.
Oh, it's just so well done. And it's that balance between Liz having absolutely no information, Peter having all of the information now, and Vulture sitting there with
figuring it out.
Knowing he's Vulture, but not knowing that Spider-Man is Spider-Man.
Yep.
And figuring it out. And while simultaneously everybody's trying to keep secrets from Liz. It's a masterfully executed scene. It's so well done.
What makes it up to this point on my list is it shows Spider-Man in a very vulnerable state where he's just trying to live his normal life as Peter Parker, and he's completely caught off guard at this point, but he still has to thread the needle on these two lives crossing over in a way he didn't expect. And now all of a sudden both lives are in danger because his secret identity is revealed and the Vulture threatened everybody he loves if he still keeps interfering.
Well, and it's interesting, like at the beginning of the scene, even if you like before the car scene, when he first opens the door and he's like, oh, you're going from him being anxious about going on his date with Liz, and he's like, he's kind of excited, kind of nervous. We've seen this in teen movies before.
Yeah.
And then it just goes to this totally different, like, oh, I've got like no confidence now because I'm just like, I have to silently deal with this whole throw me through the loop.
Yeah. It puts him in a more vulnerable position than we've seen Peter Parker in most of these movies.
Yeah.
It really humanizes him in a way of, okay, I'm also nervous from the dad talk of trying to impress my date's father and when he's awkwardly driving us to homecoming, but also he's a supervillain who is going to threaten my life for real, and I mean it. So it's that nice balance between what Spider-Man always represented, which is just a nerdy, anxious kid with high school problems, ballooned to superheroic proportions. It blends the two elements of Spider-Man very well, and it complements what he was always supposed to be thematically.
And I think that scene also sets up the level of respect that comes at the end, where, like, you know, going out of this conversation, both of them know their secret identities. Both of them know that they don't want Liz to know.
Yeah. And
even though Vulture gets caught in the end, and of course his family finds out now because he's going to jail, but Peter never straight up told Liz and was like, yeah, your dad's a supervillain. Like, he never did. And so that's why Vulture doesn't say anything in jail, is because at the end of it, whoever won that fight would have gotten away with their secret identity. Whoever won would have gotten away with it because neither one of them ratted on the other one.
There was a mutual respect there.
Yeah, and I really like that. And I think that comes straight from that scene.
For sure. Which that kind of idea of mutual respect will play into a scene that I have further down on the list. My number 11 is sort of tangential to Spider-Man. A lot of these are going to be more Spider-Man focused moments, but this is a moment around him. It's when he goes to visit Aunt May in Spider-Man 2, and she's packing up her house, and he hasn't been Spider-Man in a while, and there's this neighbor boy that's coming to help out, and he's a big Spider-Man fan. And then he and Aunt May start grilling Peter Parker about, hey, so we haven't seen Spider-Man's picture in a while. What's going on? And Peter's, oh, he quit. And they're like, oh, why? Is he coming back? Oh, well, he wanted to try something different, and I don't know if he's going to be coming back. And the kid's just heartbroken. And Aunt May launches into this speech about where she's basically telling him without telling him, hey, I know who you are and you're going through something right now, and you don't have to be Spider-Man again if you don't want to, but she describes, what having that hero was like to save an old lady because he saved her earlier on, or what it would be like to that 9-year-old boy who's helping her out, who looks up to Spider-Man as a hero. And basically she's describing people value their heroes because they give them hope and show a better version of what they could be. And that's why she's describing, okay, well, I think there's a hero in all of us. There is that really noble side in everybody, but seeing people like Spider-Man in action is what allows us to believe in that aspect of ourselves. And what basically she's trying to tell him, what you do is important, and maybe you quit for a good reason, but it's all subtextual. And he's just kind of listening to this like, yeah, okay, well, maybe now I'm starting to feel a bit more guilty about quitting and just living my life responsibility free. So, and I know a lot of people talk about the appreciation of the subtlety of it. Somebody I just noticed online in a discussion about this, something I never even caught before, where when he's complaining about how she sold his comic books, the dreadful things, I just gave them away. And he looks crestfallen. That the reason she probably figured out he was Spider-Man is because when she's going through all his old stuff, she probably would have happened upon his drawings that he made from the very first movie when he was designing his costume. I never once clicked into that before today.
Yeah, she totally would have. That's probably it.
Yeah. And also the fact that earlier on in the movie, he told her about how he let the killer get away who killed Uncle Ben as well. That was another part of it where he was telling his guilt to her. But basically this scene is integral to the character of Spider-Man and memorable to me because it shows this motherly relationship between him and Aunt May and grounds the idea of Spider-Man in the world of his non-superpowered supporting cast. The 9-year-old boy from across the street and his mother figure describing to him what a hero like Spider-Man means to ordinary people. In the middle of him having a crisis of faith about whether he wants to continue this responsibility and maybe live for himself for once. And he's being told by these people, okay, maybe you can do that, but also keep in mind what your self-sacrificing means to so many other people. It's a very powerful scene. And are we gonna do yours next or do my number 10?
I can do number 10 if you want.
Sure.
Or mine's not numbered, but
yeah,
I'm gonna start with some that I think
it's a little nebulous. So.
I'm gonna try not to cut in on your list, so I'm gonna put out some ones that I think you won't say.
Maybe.
Let's see. I cheated a little. We said movies. I cheated. I'm using TV as well.
Cheater.
The theme song from Spider-Man in Color, 1967.
Yeah, it's Tom Holland's theme too.
Is
so
it?
They played it in the title sequence of Homecoming.
That's true. But it's a classic.
Yep.
That theme song's just a classic. Like anybody who loves Spider-Man knows the theme. You know, it's amazing. It's incredible. That's the only thing I remember about that show.
They've referenced it in basically every Spider-Man media. I think in Amazing Spider-Man, there was one point where I think that was his ringtone.
Yeah.
At some point, I think in Spider-Man 3, there was a scene where he was getting the key to the city or something, and the orchestra was playing that song as he was swinging in onto the stage. It was the opening song for the title sequence of Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
And others I'm probably forgetting, but that song has cropped up a lot in Spider-Man media.
I just particularly like the cheesy, 60s theme song. Like the entire opening credits is just, I enjoy it so much. The animation's so much fun.
That's my childhood. I grew up on those reruns, and it's an amazing song.
Yep.
It's been stuck in my head as a continuous earworm for 27 years, and it's not going away anytime soon.
No, it will not.
Like, I don't know how much... Actually, no, that show was pretty influential. I mean, that's also the show we got the Spider-Man pointing meme from.
Yep. There's quite a few memes from it.
Yeah. It was a very influential series, but it's a good Easter egg for the people who know the song.
And it's the only Spider-Man TV show that is not on Disney Plus, and I'm so disappointed. I've been watching for it. They have their Spider-Man collection. You're like, excluding some of the really obscure ones like the Japanese Spider-Man. That's not there. But Like, they have basically every cartoon Spider-Man that's ever been done except that one.
Crazy.
And it's so disappointing because I wanted to watch all of it. And
Such an iconic one.
I know. It's great. It's incredible.
Although I do remember watching it one time as an adult, and I'm like, half these shows just him swinging through the city.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of that.
And I almost guarantee they reused those same shots. And
It is most certainly recycled frames for stuff.
yeah, recycled frames of him swinging through the city. For
This is not a show that you're gonna binge watch, but
no, it's nostalgia.
There are specifically sequences that are pulled from the title sequence that is used in episodes frequently.
My favorite thing about that title sequence is, like, I love the very opening Spider-Man in color.
That's why I called it that, even though it's just called Spider-Man. It's called Spider-Man 1967, but I'm like, no, it's Spider-Man in color.
Spider-Man in color.
When you say Spider-Man in color, everybody knows what you're talking about.
It's the first frame of it, yeah. So my number 10 is from The Amazing Spider-Man. It's the scene right before the lizard fight where he's injured and he needs to get all the way across the city and he doesn't have a straight shot, but there's this crane operator watching him on the TV, and he said, hey, that's the guy that saved my son in the bridge accident. So he gets all his construction buddies together, and they swing the cranes out to build the path for Spider-Man to clear the distance up to the lizard. It's just a great scene for a couple reasons. I am very partial to, and as you'll see further on in the list, scenes where the city of New York comes together around Spider-Man to help their hero out.
That's one part that really stood out for that scene. Like, just that idea that the city comes together and they're like, you know, Spider-Man's a hero. He can do a lot, but he's not by himself.
Yeah.
The regular people back him and push him. This was on my list as well, and this is it's really good.
And when I was rewatching these scenes earlier, I forgot, besides that one offhand mention, that the guy who spearheads all this was the guy he saved in the car going off the bridge earlier, whose son was going to drown. I'm like, oh, wow, so that's a callback from another scene, which very easily could have made my top 10. It didn't, but it could have, because that was a great scene as well. And yeah, I love the city of New York gathering behind him, and the fact that he had to patch himself up before take a running start.
Well, especially in a movie where the city was against him for a long time.
It's a catharsis,
like the police force is distinctly against him until kind of that point where things turn around for him.
A couple of people said, you know what, this guy isn't so bad after all, and I think he can actually stop the lizard. So let's give Spider-Boy a chance. Yeah. It's just very well done. I was watching, like, the music is very rousing as it's going to. It's not like crazy things needing to happen in the middle of it for it to he doesn't need to be getting whacked off course or anything. It's just the fact that it's all the setup, and then we just see him go through it.
To think that it's literally just a scene of it's just Spider-Man swinging.
He's just swinging across the cranes.
He's not doing anything fancy. He's just swinging to get somewhere.
He's just swinging to get somewhere with a rousing score in the background to sell the emotional resonance of it.
And a very good build up to that final finale, basically, of the movie.
There's a reason I'm ranking this, and the actual finale where he fights the lizard is not even on my list, because I don't remember that fight.
It's good. It's a fight scene.
But I remember the build-up.
Yeah.
Sure as heck, I remember the build-up.
Oh, yeah.
So what you got?
Well, I'm going to build off of that. Amazing Spider-Man. Specifically, that bridge scene where he's saving the kid.
Yep.
Distinctly, that element of humanizing where he takes off the mask for the kid, and he gives the kid the mask to be like, okay, if you wear this mask, you know,
be brave. Yeah.
You got the powers of Spider-Man. You're brave. You know, you're a superhero. And I think that scene really resonated with me because it's like, there's just something about it that's like, it's great. The way they really made him care about people, especially for this version of Spider-Man being a little bit rough on the edges a lot.
He's more of a cocky prick in a lot of cases.
Yeah, he's not, he's antisocial, like spiky kind of. He's like, stay away from me for a lot of things. But when he's Spider-Man, he's there and he's more of a genuine person and he does, what's needed. And it was a really, really well done scene.
Yeah, most definitely. Were they the first people that he was really saving? I feel like before that he was just fighting. He was fighting robbers mostly,
stopping crimes,
but he hadn't really saved people before that. Not anything like that, anyway.
Yeah,
where he had to actually be a hero. And
I think he even tried to save somebody, and then it was like he got the wrong person or something.
Right.
Like,
he hadn't had to do the hero thing where he actually had to be an inspiration and calm somebody down. And
this was like a true emergency where where nobody else could possibly do anything. Like a lot of the other scenarios would be like, if you had a cop in the right place, yeah, they could probably do the same thing. This was impossible. This is only Spider-Man is the only one who could do this.
Yes. Which is it's impactful, most definitely. So going back to what you were saying before about him being able to empathize with his villains. It was the Vulture thing where he didn't squeal on him because they were mutual respect. The scene in the apartment in No Way Home where he's got all 5 of the Sinister Six surrounding him. And his spider sense starts going off, and he's been trying to help all these people this entire time. The entire movie is basically just, hey, Spider-Man is a good enough person that basically all the other Avengers would have killed these guys, just no questions asked. And Spider-Man is going out of his way to help his greatest villains get back home. And now a betrayal is going to drop, and he can feel it coming. And he's just wandering around the apartment in a daze, and his spider sense is going off, and he knows something's going to come, but he doesn't know from which one of these guys, or at one time. And then he senses his Norman Osborn. Okay, caught him. And then all hell breaks loose. And his fist fight with Norman down the hallway is one of the most brutal scenes in all of Spider-Man's filmography, where Tom Holland, Willem Dafoe they're just going at it. They're throwing each other through walls, crashing through multiple levels of the apartment building as they're crumbling through floors. Spider-Man's beating the crap out of him, and he's just smiling through it. He's laughing. And I think one of the best things about this is Willem Dafoe does a lot of his own stunts in the movie. I think he might.
Oh, really?
I think he might do all of his stunts. And I've heard him talk about in interviews how that was a big thing for him, even on the very first Spider-Man 20 years ago, where he felt very strongly that even when he's in the suit, he is an actor, is making choices that a stunt double wouldn't necessarily be able to replicate.
Well, definitely, because he's playing this persona. The second he's in, like, even if you think about it, it's almost like a form of method acting.
Yes.
He is in the suit as the Green Goblin. He is taking on that persona. He's not playing Norman Osborn anymore.
Yes, so I've heard him say it was important to him that even when the mask is on and a body double could have been in there, he's saying, no, I'm still giving a performance. So I am going to do the stunts. I am going to be the guy in the mask, even if I could have just done a voiceover later. And that's why that character feels so inhabited. But it's also the reason a fight like this carries so much gravitas, is because he's doing it fully unmasked. And
which we got bits of that in the original Raimi movies, but
yes,
seeing it fully come to life like that was really.
He mostly had the mask on in those old movies, but this was like,
because he ditches the suit at the beginning, doesn't he?
Mostly, yeah. I think he still wears the armor, but he ditches the mask.
The mask, yeah.
But he still has this purple hoodie, so it kind of looks like the Green Goblin's classic costume.
Yeah.
And we get to see Willem Dafoe unleashed against Tom Holland. And Tom Holland is still kind of holding back at the thing, but this fight scene ends up with Aunt May getting killed in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really cool build up with him not knowing who to trust at first, all hell breaking loose, the Green Goblin's throwing him through the apartment buildings, and then Aunt May gets killed at the end of it, leading him on a path of vengeance. And this is one of the coolest scenes in all of the Spider-Man filmography, because he's got all his villains surrounding him, and he's still the most empathetic one in the room. Any of these people might want to kill him for any reason, but he's still going out of his way to help them. And then he gets stabbed in the back in a vulnerable moment, and Aunt May dies. And you could argue, and I'm sure he felt like it was his fault, because he brought these people here. They didn't need to be here. He could have dealt with them a long time ago, but he tried to be empathetic, and it bit him.
Mm-hmm.
There was a good line the Green Goblin says, and some people have posited this line as a antithesis to "with great power comes great responsibility," where he shouts at Tom Holland, "Strong enough to have it all, too weak to take it." Where he's basically you could be a lot more powerful, but you're holding yourself back.
As Alan would say, he's wussy.
Yes. He's holding himself back, and the Goblin is just pure chaos unleashed. I'm going to kill Aunt May and give him a reason not to hold himself back anymore. See what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just Spider-Man's empathy against a force of pure chaos. In this scene, it's just a very strong clashing of personalities, leading to a very memorable consequence in the series.
Yeah. Well, I'll play off with that. My next one on my list. Going off of that, we see the consequence of that.
Mm-hmm.
When he finally gets a hand on Norman Osborn, and he's absolutely wailing on him on the ground at the end of the movie. And
great ending.
And, you know, it's the other two Spider-Men that stop him from making a huge mistake, basically.
Yep.
Especially, it's even more impactful that it's Tobey Maguire doing it, because that's his villain.
It was funny because he also, this scene is on my list later, but I'll call attention to it just for this particular element, is that he also tried to show Norman Osborn a modicum of empathy in that same scene, and then Norman tried to spear him with his glider before Norman got himself killed. So Tobey Maguire's seen it from another perspective.
Yeah.
And Andrew Garfield in this scene, he's admitted to Tom Holland that he did nearly go through a more brutal and venge-filled path after Gwen Stacy that he had to pull himself out of. So Andrew Garfield is the guy who kind of stopped pulling his punches, I believe, was how he described it.
Yeah, he says that's what happened after Amazing Spider-Man 2, basically.
Yeah.
He made the mistakes.
So you have these two Spider-Men, one where empathy still lost him something, but he did prevail in the end. He's had the longevity to say, no, you can do it this way and it'll be fine. And the Spider-Man that went the opposite way, who was like, I pulled myself out of this. It's not a path you want to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an older one and a younger one who've made who have different perspectives that Tom Holland wouldn't have, who have to really hammer home his responsibility. His great power comes great responsibility. You can't just kill people like you're the Avengers or something. You're better than that.
He was trying to do him like new Captain America would.
Yes. Yeah.
But luckily, and the other thing is that, especially because Tobey Maguire's hurt at that point too.
I think he just got stabbed.
Well,
I think he got stabbed stopping Tom Holland from killing him.
Was that it?
Yeah. I think he jumped in the middle.
Is that how? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I knew there was something there. I haven't seen it in a while, but
Yeah, he made himself a meat shield to stop Tom Holland from going too far. Or just saving him from Green Goblin, who was taking advantage of a lull in the fight or something. He got in the middle of it.
yeah.
That's all I remember right now.
I thought they were going to kill Tobey Maguire.
And I was like, yep, another one of my childhood heroes. Sent to the Disney graves. Yay.
It's okay. He just made a call back that his back hurt. Okay.
Yeah. No, it was good. Very solid scene there. And now for something completely different. Number 8, finger guns. Emo Peter Parker. Classic. This is my Spider-Man 3 representation. I could have a solid amount of Spider-Man 3 stuff on here, but I'm going with Emo Peter Parker just for the memes. This isn't the technically best thing in the Spider-Man filmography.
It's iconic.
But it's iconic. It's iconic to the point where even in the new Spider-Man video games, you can press square walking down the street, finger guns.
They just added it as an emote in Marvel Rivals too.
Yep.
It's great.
Everybody wants the black suit in every version of Spider-Man after that.
Yep.
Like in the video games, it's like, what? You don't get the black suit? Oh, man. The dance is a meme. I still do it all the time. I went to Fan Expo one time as Emo Peter Parker.
It's great.
Done it for Halloween.
I can't imagine Spider-Man 3 without that scene.
The montage is mostly just in one montage, and then Bully Maguire's in other scenes.
I actually really like that movie.
Yeah, it's good. But just the whole montage, he's just, he's being a real jerk to Ursula. She's feeding him cookies on the phone. My favorite is how it starts. It starts with him picking up the phone. Chillo? Good Lord.
Oh my God.
He's walking down the street, trying to flirt with all the girls. Betty Brand's telling him, oh, you took such great pictures. Yeah, I could take some pictures of you sometime. And then and then Jameson comes on. Miss Brandt, that's not the position I hired you for.
Wow.
Okay. And then he's like, okay, yeah, these are good pictures, Jonah. We should take them. All right, I'll pay you the usual rate. I'll take the staff job, double the money. And then his feet are up on the desk, and Jameson's just looking between his back from his feet on the desk back to his face, just in bewilderment. But that montage showed Peter at his more aggressive side. This is obviously not turning him evil, but this is what a nerd like Peter Parker thinks is cool. But at the same time, it's kind of working for him because it's giving him a confidence he never had before. He never would have had the confidence before to ask to flirt with all these women successfully in a lot of cases. Some just look at him like he's a creep. But like with Betty Brant and Ursula, it was actually kind of working. Or to get that staff job at double the money just by making hard demands of Jameson.
Mm-hmm.
He was, he got a better fashion sense. He stopped he'd stopped dressing in his sweaters and he got a nice suit going on there. And like he was making some improvements in his life in a way just by having that extra confidence. So it is a comedic scene to show, oh, well, this is what a nerd thinks being cool is like. But also it was, hey, this suit is benefiting his life in a very toxic way that's going to have long-term repercussions if he keeps being like this. But in the short term, it was why he got hooked on the power of the suit. It made him feel good. It actually helped him in the short term. And it's also to show the corruptibility of Peter Parker as a character. He is a very moral guy most of the time, but he also is just a guy who wants to feel cool sometimes.
Well, he's always holding himself back in all avenues. That pushes him outwards instead of always holding back, which
yes.
it kind of shows his full potential, really.
Yeah, if he was more willing to be a jerk to people and not. Yeah.
Because that's kind of, that's realistically, that's what everybody does. Everybody has internal thoughts that they don't act upon.
They filter. He lost his filter.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And not to say this is who Peter Parker really is, but it is a version of him that he suppresses actively. Evidently.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it for the memes, but also the montage really is a good exploration into the dark subconscious of Peter Parker, which is funny because he's not even that bad. Like, even the dark part of himself is just...
No, he doesn't go on a life of crime. He's just a jerk.
Basically, yeah. And even he second guesses himself the moment he throws hands with Mary Jane when he's making her jealous with Gwen Stacy, and then he ends up throwing her to the ground at one point, and like that bit of violence was like, nope, that's enough.
That's what kind of cut him out of it a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so I like the way this confidence was feeling, but now it's making me...
It's breaking things that go fully against his moral code, basically.
It's making me aggressive towards innocent people. This is gotta go. So, yeah, just Emo Peter Parker, Bully Maguire. That's my number 8.
Pick. I'm going to try to avoid blocking up your list, so I'm going to go with a shout out to Ryan here. Spectacular Spider-Man.
Okay.
Just the whole thing. The whole thing. It's a fantastic show. It's got a fantastic theme. The story is so well done. Honestly, it's probably one of the best interpretations of Peter Parker's Spider-Man ever.
Yep.
It's just great. It's executed so well. It made me watch the, I think it was the 90s Spider-Man.
Yep.
Which it follows that story pretty closely, but it, like, kind of the story beats, but it executes it so much better. And like, that show would have done so well, but that was an unfortunate crushing by the Disney merge.
Yeah, Spectacular is one of those ones where I've never actually seen it all the way through. I think I watched the first season or so when it was coming out.
2 seasons.
I've seen enough of it to remember a decent amount of it and that I really liked it, but I never watched it from start to finish.
It's very, very good. Like there's so many Spider-Man arcs that it's like they covered everything. They covered the black suit. There was so much going on that it's like, wow, this is great. And it had so much potential that and then it just got cut off.
I remember really liking their version of Gwen Stacy and Flash Thompson are the two characters that are coming to mind. Mm-hmm. I like how they handled them.
And they had a bit of a dynamic going with the Gwen versus Mary Jane, but he was
leaning
towards Gwen, and everybody was kind of theorizing that it would build up to the death of Gwen Stacy, but
yeah,
they weren't sure if they were going to do that on a show for kids, but honestly, I wouldn't doubt that they would have done it. I think they would have done it, honestly.
On some level.
Because the show treats things with a bit of maturity, which is not typical for children, like, not children, but, younger audiences, TV shows. They don't treat them with the proper maturity anymore. And this show did. In a time when it wasn't really anymore. It was kind of falling out.
A lot of the shows we grew up with did, and then it was starting to phase out. But when we got when we started becoming teenagers, I think the childhood shows I remember leaving when I did were because they were starting to get a lot more kiddie than even the shows I watched as a kid. I'm like, wow, this feels extra childish now.
Yeah.
Whereas the stuff we watched as kids, a lot of us still watch.
Like Teen Titans.
Like Teen Titans, Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Not that Teen Titans,
Go.
Whatever new show.
Not Teen Titans Go.
No. All right, that's kind of funny. It's still lowbrow humor, though. And then right into the show.
So my number 7 is a scene from Spider-Man 2, is also Depowered Peter Parker when he happens to come across this burning building and he hears people talking about, oh, there might be a kid trapped inside on the second floor and the fire department's not there yet. So he rushes into the building, completely depowered. He's got debris falling in on him. He gets to the door, tries to knock it open with his shoulder, hurts himself, kicks open the door, saves the little girl, has to jump across a chasm, nearly falls a whole story down, but the little girl helps him up, and then he gets out and saves her life, and the fire department has to give him oxygen after he's choking. And one of the firefighters comes out afterwards and he's talking to his coworker, and it's like, oh yeah, some poor soul died on the 4th floor up there. So it was sort of a realization of, okay, I just saved somebody without any powers, sweet. But also, if I had my powers and I was still Spider-Man, I probably could have saved everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the point was he was still trying, because he hadn't been Spider-Man for a while. And this was the point where he was actively regretting his choices, because beforehand it was, hey, I don't have powers. So with no power comes no responsibility. I can just mess around and live my life and it's fine. And then he sees stuff like this fire, and it was one of the first realizations of, oh, bad things are still happening in a city without Spider-Man, and people died. And I did what I could because I'm a good person at heart who maybe kind of misses the action a little bit, but really it's more he liked that responsibility of helping people, even though it was
a responsibility.
It was a responsibility that completely encroached on his personal life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's thinking back to what Aunt May said of sometimes we have to give up the things we love, even our dreams. And he's thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm meant for this responsibility after all. It reaffirms what he was starting to forget throughout the movie about why he became Spider-Man in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a scene where he, once again, has no powers. He's just happening upon this burning building, and he feels like he's just kind of intuitively compelled to do good. And it's through Tobey Maguire's acting, playing the subtext afterwards, where you're like, oh, he's kind of wondering, yeah, but why did I do that? Well, yeah, because this is what I like to do. I save people, and I feel bad when I can't. Yeah. So what's your next one?
Well, I really like Amazing Spider-Man, so I got some more from Amazing Spider-Man. Specifically, the scene where Peter goes back to school for the first time after Uncle Ben's death, and Flash Thompson is genuinely trying to be nice to edgy Peter Parker, and like he punches the locker behind Flash, and he's really upset, but Flash Thompson is showing a bit of his own. He's always a jerk. He's always a jerk in everything, but they show he's trying to be genuine here, and Peter's losing his control of things going on here. And it even more hits into, it really hits into that idea that Uncle Ben always passes along to Spider-Man. And it's like, you can't lose control of your emotions here.
He's strong.
He's very strong.
He could have hurt him.
He could have very easily hurt him in a situation where it was completely unwarranted. Completely unwarranted. Flash Thompson was trying to be nice to him.
That was the big thing, is he was losing his cool at somebody who didn't deserve it.
Mm-hmm. And that was, I think, that scene to me was more impactful to his character then the speech that Uncle Ben gave this version of Peter was fine. It was a rework. It was actually pretty good. I do enjoy it. It was pretty good. It was a reworking of the Raimi one. But that scene there even more solidified it for me. I think that's the point when that message really clicked in to Peter. It's almost like a visual, like a physical representation of the speech, basically.
I could have made a worse mistake here, and I'm glad I didn't.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's a very, very well done scene.
Most definitely it was. So my number 6 is from Into the Spider-Verse, is Miles' leap of faith off the building. When up to this point, he's been very not that confident about stepping into the shoes of Spider-Man, and Aunt May starts giving him some tips and gives him some web shooters, and he's running over a lot of the advice from his mentors in his head, and it builds up to this moment of he's on top of a very tall building in New York, and he's like, he's kind of thinking to himself, am I really gonna jump all these stories? And then it's the liftoff where he ends up pulling some glass off the window in a moment of tension and just free falling until he gets his bearings and shoots his first webs out. And then he's just...
Yeah, because up to that point, he'd only borrowed other Peter's one web shooter for
right.
like one scene or something for a little bit of swinging.
Now he's got his both.
And he still hadn't really done anything, and he had enough to be like, I'm off a really tall building, just to go for it.
He just jumped.
Even though his confidence throughout the movie was so low that he was like, I can't be Spider-Man. I can't be Spider-Man.
Yes, and as you watch this visual scene play out, you see his confidence grow as he's... After that first jump, he starts swinging, and then he's going through the city streets. He's jumping on top of cars and parkouring off buildings.
Well, I think that's another thing is that really plays into it is the fact that his only other time, swinging from webs was he was trying to mirror Peter Parker.
Yes.
And they are in sync in that scene, and he's trying to do it, but he just can't. It doesn't feel right. And then when he finally does this leap of faith and goes, he's doing it to his rhythm. He's doing it his way.
Good point. It's the moment where he finally embraces not just becoming Spider-Man, but his version of it.
Mm-hmm. He's not Peter Parker Spider-Man. He's his own Spider-Man. And
it's all represented just through the animation. There isn't really a heck of a lot of dialogue to go along with it.
No, there isn't. There isn't. I don't think there's any dialogue after he leaps.
No, it's just the camera work and his body language and the fluidity of him flying through the city streets as he gains more confidence in his own ability to do this and his own style, adding his own flair to the Spider-Man flying around New York. And by the end of this comparatively short sequence, he feels comfortable in his own skin as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. It is quite quick to get to, oh yeah, he feels really confident as Spider-Man now.
As far as that scene goes.
It's a little fast, but also it's a quick movie, so get over it. It's everything in that movie is paced fast, so...
I just think the scene really well represents the feeling of being Spider-Man. It's not the heavy weight and burden of responsibility we often see. It's just, hey, like just the pure fun of flying through the streets of New York. As somebody who's fresh with these powers, it's, hey, Spider-Man can be fun sometimes too. And this is, in a way, it's a scene of him unburdening himself from the burdens of Spider-Man by embracing the more fun side of it. for a moment. Just, hey, this is what, like, forget about the baggage of the dead Spider-Man that I'm trying to replace and all the, well, not really, but all these other Spider-Man coming into the world too. It's just, okay, it's just me in the city flying around with web shooters and just focus on this. It's a really excellent scene.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 for me is the entire end sequence where he's fighting Green Goblin in the first Raimi Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The entire sequence spanning from the bridge up through the abandoned hospital, where Goblin has Mary Jane Watson captured in the one hand, and he has the tram car full of school children in the other, and he drops them both at the same time, tries to make Spider-Man choose. So he grabs Mary Jane, he grabs the car, but he can't fight Goblin now. He's got both his hands covered in something, and the Goblin's still trying to slam into him with his glider, trying to distract him. He makes him drop Mary Jane and the kids multiple times again. And this is another scene where I really loved how the city of New York comes around him, because it was really a team effort. The only reason he was able to save Mary Jane was because there were these boat operators underneath the bridge that he could lower the tram car and Mary Jane onto. And they were trying to get there, but they just needed more time. And because he had no free hands and he couldn't really fight the Goblin, then you have the New Yorkers up on the bridge who are whipping stuff at the Goblin and trying to distract him. And from my childhood, I always remembered that one line of the guy of, if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And I think I like this stuff even better than the crane scene, which is why it's like doubly as high, because as impactful as the crane scene is, it's very focused on just that moment of New Yorkers helping. But I like how it blends, this particular scene blends in the New York amidst other things at the same time. So you're getting an action scene, you're getting the romance between him and Mary Jane, you're trying to get him calming her down, saving the children, and also the New Yorkers are stepping in on top of this to help out their hero in the middle of a crisis when he's physically threatened. It's not just a build-up, which, once again, great scene, very impactful and Amazing Spider-Man, how they're building up to it. But this is mid-action in New York still coming together for him. Mm-hmm. Even when the bad guy is right in front of their faces, they're whipping stuff, like they're whipping tire irons and rotten fruit at the Green Goblin, just to show how brave they are. And then it gets to the place where the battle's taken all the way out to the abandoned hospital. And this is where it really kicks into gear for me, is probably my favorite hand-to-hand combat scene in the Spider-Man franchise. To this date, we've gotten so many superhero movies over the years, but I'm still hard-pressed to find one that's this brutal as the abandoned hospital scene, where Spider-Man and Green Goblin are just pummeling each other till their suits are ripped up, they're beaten, they're bloody. He throws a pumpkin bomb right in his face. It's, he's trying to web him up and he's just cutting through the webs like butter, throws a whole wall on top of him. As they're fighting in this dirty rubble, they're getting covered in cobwebs and dirt, and their costumes are just getting shredded. They're bloody, their faces are swollen in the end. It's very violent and messy and just completely brutal.
Well, and I think it's like the timing of the release of the movie as well. It's kind of like the gold standard they set early on for what a superhero movie could be.
Yes.
Like, more than, they had like Christopher Reeve's Superman and stuff. It's a lot cleaner. This was like,
even the Michael Keaton Batman never got this down and dirty.
No, not like that. And I think that's what pushed a lot of what the superhero genre became. Like what really made it its own genre and why it became so popular.
And all this brutal violence, like it's great because it's a hand-to-hand combat, but they are still doing the Spider-Man acrobatics, and incorporating the glider into it closer towards the end. And like, it is this brutal fist fight, but it's also got the emotional current to it as well. Because when Spider-Man finally wins, Norman Osborn unmasks himself and then tries to play the sympathy card of, oh, it's the Goblin. He was taking over. You just
kill me.
Don't kill me. I've been like a father to you. Be a son to me now, Peter. And then Peter hits the emotional bomb of the movie with, I had a father. His name was Ben Parker. And then Willem Dafoe goes the Godspeed, Spider-Man. Then the glider comes in and he gets impaled with his own glider. Another trivia tidbit where they weren't necessarily going to use that scene where he sees his own glider coming at him and goes wide-eyed, oh, and then gets impaled, because it totally breaks the flow of the scene.
It's corny, and
but that was kind of the idea. They're like, no, it worked too well. We're keeping it. It breaks the flow, but it works too well. It stays.
Well, especially being the end, basically the end of the fight. I think it worked perfectly.
It's iconic.
It's iconic. It's good. It's very good.
And then he follows it up with "Don't Tell Harry," putting him in a, once again, kind of like the Vulture sort of situation where he doesn't have any real obligation to his enemy to follow on their wishes, but he doesn't tell Harry. And that's basically what creates all the rest of his conflicts for the next 2 movies, is because he promised not to tell Harry.
Fair.
And then Harry ends up working with Doc Ock in the sequel to kill Spider-Man. He ends up becoming a full-on bad guy in the 3rd one, but Peter kept his word.
Yeah.
He didn't tell him. But yeah, it's just this entire end sequence is just the brutality of it, but it's still rooted in emotional character work between Peter and, especially because you look back to the start of the movie where you're like, Ben Parker is, it's like, man, you're living with this old man who doesn't really understand you. He's like, you know, he's a blue collar guy and Peter's a science nerd. And you look back to the very first scene of the movie and Norman Osborn is the dad he wishes he would have had. Unlike somebody like Ben Parker, who just doesn't get him whatsoever. He pushes Ben Parker aside the whole time. He gives him good advice, but nah, just forget it. You don't know what you're talking about, old man. And then it's right at the end of the movie where Norman Osborn is saying, I've been like a father to you, you're like a son to me, and he gets to reject him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, the actual ending is kind of an emotional catharsis for the whole movie. After all this violence, it's just a very good balance of the emotions and the city of New York helping him and the romance angle, saving Mary Jane, and just a great hero-villain clash.
Mm-hmm. So I got another one from Amazing Spider-Man.
Sure.
It's the webs in the sewer scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's honestly, it's a work of art in a movie format. It's an incredibly well done scene.
It's really cool.
The spinning of the big web in the middle of the sewer and just all the visuals, all the camera work, all of the effects, everything that went into the scene. It is like a work of art. It is like, if you could possibly create this into a single frame to put on your wall, you would. But it doesn't work like that because there's so much that goes into it. The sounds, the lights, the visuals, the movement, the way Andrew Garfield moves throughout the scene.
Yeah.
There's something very unique about it. And the fact that it has a purpose. It's not just like there for fun. No, this is how do I track it? Like, it's a really smart usage of his powers. How do I track something in the sewer that I'm Spider-Man? How do I track something? And uses, real things from spiders to implement this trap and to be able to find him. And it's great.
It's very smart for showing how intelligent Peter Parker is.
Mm-hmm.
we see Peter do smart things in other movies, like, okay, well, I built this suit out of stuff I found in a dumpster or whatever. But this is, oh, okay, I'm actually using scientific method. It's not just stuff about my powers or my technology. It's, okay, how would a spider actually go about this? Take other connections that he can find from other knowledge bases.
Mm-hmm. It was just a really good use. I think beyond like story-wise or anything else, just the visuals that went into that scene is incredible.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's really a piece of art that can only be done the way it was done in film. It's the only way you could present what they presented. There is not a single still. There is nothing that you could do to present that other than an actual, video format. That is the only way that this piece of art could be viewed, basically.
It would be tricky otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
You'd lose out on an effect for sure.
You
lose out on the audio component or like the visuals of it, the web shaking or yeah.
And just like, just a shot of Spider-Man sitting on a web in a sewer, it just doesn't nowhere near as impactful as the whole scene.
You can read it and say, oh, that's clever what he's doing, but it's not. Yeah, but you're right. In terms of Spider-Man in a film sort of medium, it's a very unique use of his powers in a film medium.
And that scene could have been done a lot simpler. You could do the same idea, but they decided to make it really, really good looking and very visually appealing.
Right. So my number 4 is the death of Gwen Stacy.
Yep, I got that one as well.
Yeah. Which, personally, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the worst Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
In most regards, it is not that good. But it nailed the ending. And that's kind of what it's known for at this point. People don't talk about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 for very much else besides this moment. And I think I'm not necessarily the biggest advocate for the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I really enjoyed the first one as it came out. And I watched the second one. And like, I think I've done an in-defense episode on it. So I do like these movies. But what I think the death of Gwen Stacy solidified more than anything else is that the Amazing Spider-Man did his love story correctly.
Yes.
Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's chemistry is unparalleled in the Spider-Man franchise. His relationship with Gwen Stacy is so impactful that I'm tacking on something to this death of Gwen Stacy. It's so impactful that by No Way Home, when he catches MJ and he doesn't even have to say anything, he looks at her like he's gonna cry, and she's like, are you okay? And he doesn't really say anything. He just nods. It's to the point where, so many years later, without even saying a word, we know what that meant to him.
We remember something from the worst Spider-Man film without the need to explain anything.
They didn't spell it out.
No. And it's
And it was one of the best moments in No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
Just to show, hey man, Andrew Garfield finally got some redemption there.
Yeah. No, and I'm like probably the biggest Amazing Spider-Man fan that I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
I won't defend Amazing Spider-Man to the middle portion of the movie. But this scene was executed so well that it's another art piece scene too, with the the hand almost like the web almost being like a hand.
Yeah, and reaching out to her, but not quite getting her.
And I thought it was interesting that they actually played on the physics of it.
Yes,
that it's like, sometimes it's not very realistic. When Superman catches somebody falling, and it's like, that person shouldn't be alive, but okay.
But the web grabbed her and the web continued to stretch.
Mm-hmm. He caught her, but
not quick enough.
No.
And it was brutal, too. The way she just whacked herself off the ground and sprung back up.
Yeah.
And I like how to show with the elasticity on the web, when she hit the ground, she came back up like, oh, she would have been just off the ground if he got, like, without the elasticity problem there.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think it was debated whether she would have, from the scene itself, it's not very clear if she made contact with the ground or if it was just because he got her right in the middle, the force of stopping so fast, basically.
Right.
Like whiplash to the point where you're dead.
Yes, that is also a factor. One thing I appreciated in Emma Stone's performance as I was rewatching this scene was her quiet resolution as she's falling. There's a point where you see in her eyes, she just kind of looks up at Spider-Man fighting Green Goblin up there, and then she just closes her eyes like, I know I'm dead. And she doesn't have a panic about it or anything. You just see in her face, I know what's coming and I'm just going to accept it with dignity. And I don't think Spider-Man saw that, but the camera sees it in her last moment of conscious thought of, I'm just going to go out well here. And I also thought it was very sad afterwards when he's holding her body and he's pleading, stay with me, even though she's clearly already
gone.
But he's in denial about it for a very long time, and we're just hanging on Andrew Garfield's face, sobbing. And once again, this moment is very good on its own merit, but it also has 2 movies worth of build-up.
Yeah.
Especially when you take into consideration the whole stay away from my daughter because being around heroes is unsafe sort of angle that he blatantly ignored. And
yeah. They played into that for sure.
And you fully understand his guilt.
I think that's where the Amazing Spider-Man movies really worked well, is that it didn't need to be in your face with its messages.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like, we didn't have a big reminder that it's like, oh, stay away from my daughter. Maybe I think there was a little bit of a mention of it at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
But they don't feel the need to spell it out at the end that it's like, well, look at that. The end of the movie, she died. He said to stay away from his daughter. No, nothing like that. Because you already knew. You said the Amazing Spider-Man movies gave you something to think about afterwards, which is what I really appreciated about them.
I appreciate No Way Home so much because it gave resolution to Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
It gave you enough exposition to say this is what happened to him afterwards and this is how he's finding redemption in it. In a way, it was nearly the pieces of the Amazing Spider-Man 3 we never got.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire, we saw a little bit more after, like, okay, with some exposition, but also we kind of assumed what happened to him. It didn't need a continuation as much as Andrew Garfield did.
Yeah.
After a moment like this.
Just what we're talking about now made me think of, like, No Way Home actually did its 3 Spider-Mans very well, because you talked about how he caught MJ in that scene. The same thing was, it followed the way that Amazing Spider-Man kind of did its emotional beats, where it didn't have to spell it out for you. And I think they did all 3 Spider-Men like their movie counterparts. They played their themes out through their characters in that movie the way they would have done them in their original movies.
It was done with care.
Yeah. I really feel like they tried to stylize them the way they would have been in their own movies.
I agree. So what's your next one?
I don't have a next one.
Okay, so we'll just
because
go.
I know it's on your list and I'm not doing it now.
Okay, so my next one is the graveyard scene at the end of the very first Spider-Man, Sam Raimi one, which I feel like is a bit of a wild card, but it's always impacted me, where So they just buried Norman Osborn, and Peter is hanging out around the grave of Uncle Ben, and Mary Jane comes to talk to him, and she professes her love for him and tells him how all throughout all the movie and everything we're seeing, you know, she's had a lot of boyfriends and had a lot of terrible things happen to her and been saved by Spider-Man, but Peter was the only guy who was always there for her. And she finally wants to tell him, I love you now. And he's thinking in his monologue, well, yeah, I mean, I've wanted this my whole freaking life. And after she kisses him, he's thinking, okay, I really want this. And then he ends up friend zoning her. Which I don't think I've ever seen before. The guy friend zoning the girl at the end of the movie. It's very unique that way. Where he says to her that he'll always be there for her. He'll always look out for her as a friend. And then she asks, just to double check she heard him right, only a friend, Peter Parker? That's all I have to give.
What? Why do you think he does that?
Well, then the scene ends with him turning away. He leaves. And as he's monologuing, she kind of holds her lips like she recognizes the kiss, like from Spider-Man earlier, but like half-heartedly. And then he's walking away, and his monologue, whatever life holds in store for me, I will never forget these words. With great power comes great responsibility. This is my gift, my curse. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man. Which is a callback to the very first line of the movie, is who am I? The whole monologue at the start of the movie is, I mean, I could probably recite it, but basically he's trying to say this is a story like any story worth telling is about a girl, that girl, Mary Jane Watson, the girl I've loved since before I even liked girls. In the beginning, he positions this as a love story before he gets his powers. And that's why the whole monologue is like, who am I? So the very end, when he's monologuing to himself again, he knows now. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man. And all these lessons he's learned, with great power comes great responsibility. And you see in the movie, the Green Goblin knows that he liked Mary Jane. So he captured Mary Jane and he put Aunt May in the hospital. And he got Uncle Ben killed earlier on in the movie. And all his experiences in the movie teach him this is the role I'm meant to play, is the hero figure, and keeping other people too close to me gets them hurt. So I have to keep some distance. I still want her in my life, but I can't have her as a romantic partner because that's just going to be putting her in danger. That's the moment where he finally sees she's saying she loves me. I could go for this. But also I've matured to the point where I realize it is not in her best interest. It's the exact opposite of what Peter does in Amazing Spider-Man 2, is he's putting...
He puts her above.
Yes. He puts his duty above and her well-being above his own desires in that moment, and embraces his role as Spider-Man wholeheartedly. And that's why he says it's my gift, my curse. Because he wants to share his gift with the world, but he knows that he'll always suffer for it.
Well, my gift, my curse is an exact pairing with great power, great responsibility.
Yes.
It's exactly pairing.
Yes, so that's why it's my third favorite scene in all the Spider-Man movies. It's his acknowledgement of, I'm going to do this, but it's continually going to hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes the active decision of duty and sacrifice when the thing he's wanted the entire movie is right there in front of him, and he still chooses not to, despite really, really wanting to get with her. So yeah, that's that. And kind of going back to what you were saying before, my number 2 is The Kiss in the Rain.
Yeah.
which I don't know if I have a heck of a lot to say about it other than it's like iconic cinema moment.
That is a scene that you can take a frame and put it on the wall because it's gorgeous. It's so well done. It is an art piece.
It's forget the fact that I'm watching a superhero movie. Forget the fact that this is a Spider-Man movie. This is just iconic romance cinema moment.
Yeah.
No matter who's watching, you're like, oh yeah, I wonder like some of the most famous kisses in cinema. Spider-Man.
That is definitely up there. It has to be. It has to be.
And I like it because it's for the same reason that you're talking about the Amazing Spider-Man when he saves the kid in the car, where you're like, oh, a cop could have done this before, but only Spider-Man could have saved the kid this way.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same sort of thing. Only Spider-Man could have done the kiss this way.
Yeah, that's fair.
It works because it's both a romantic scene in context and also because it speaks to the character. It's a moment that only this character could have made this way.
I like that you paired it with your last one where it's like she remembers the kiss. This kiss is so memorable to her out of everything that she's like, she knows.
Do you remember the scene in, I think it's the second movie, where she's dating J. Jonah Jameson's son and he's like just kind of reclining on his couch and they're like wedding planning, and then she tries to kiss him upside down and then her face basically just says, this ain't the same.
I don't remember that, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a callback to it, and I think it was the second one.
You're making me realize that I haven't seen Spider-Man 2 in a very, very, very long time. I think I've only seen it once, actually.
Oh, really? It's arguably the best one.
Oh, no.
Out of them all. But yes, this
I've
kiss
committed a crime. I've seen Spider-Man 3 more times than Spider-Man 2. Oh, no.
Spider-Man 3 is good, but like, the trilogy works thematically back to back.
Oh, no.
But yeah, the kiss in the rain, I also like how he's kind of playing coy in the scene. He saves her from all those thugs and then hides himself away. He doesn't want to reveal himself to her quite yet. And even when she's saying, well, you didn't let me thank you last time, can I this time? He still has that hesitance. He doesn't let her roll up the mask much more than beyond his lips.
Mm.
He's like, okay. But also the fact that he was wearing the mask, I think, gave him more confidence.
It definitely does.
It was okay. Like even before, they just had a scene together and he was super awkward with her as Peter Parker. But then he throws that mask on and he's very flirtatious and personable and he just saved her life. And wow, this is the first time I get to kiss that girl I've had a crush on since we were kids.
Well, I like that element of Spider-Man that it's like Batman. Spider-Man is who he really is, in a way.
When he has the mask on, yeah.
That's more his personality than anything. Peter Parker
is too shy for that.
It's not really who he is.
Yeah. Spider-Man is who he is when he's less afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because that's sort of what Jameson accuses him of all the time. Oh, why is he wearing a mask? What's he hiding? What's he doing? Like, well, it helps him become more himself.
And I think that's actually the more we're talking about it, the more I'm realizing, like, you're like, oh, the end of the movie is I'm Spider-Man. He answers his question. I'm Spider-Man. And even without the mask, like he's I don't know if it's this one or the second one, but when he stops the train and he doesn't have the mask on.
Yep.
But he's still Spider-Man, despite the fact that he's unmasked. He's technically Peter Parker right now, but not really. But it seems like there was a lot of thought put into that idea that is the real version of him.
Most definitely.
Even masked or not masked, when he's in Spider-Man mode, he's Spider-Man, and that is who he is. Peter Parker is really the mask, if anything.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So getting into number one, which I don't know if it's the number one you thought it would be, because I feel like I'm missing a major one, which I didn't know if I wanted to put on this list because I was hesitant. But my number one moment in Spider-Man cinema is the train fight.
Oh, okay. Well, then I got another one for the list.
Yeah, I know what you're going with.
Oh.
And the reason I probably should have put it on here.
I thought it would be on here somewhere. All right.
No, I'm going with the train fight.
Okay.
And once again, to me, without getting into what yours is per se, the reason my list is the way it is because a lot of it is more about what's representative of who Peter Parker is and less what other people are prescribing onto him. I mean, I did like that one honorable mention with Aunt May about what like heroism means. But I was generally trying to avoid that direction. I probably should have put that moment on there. But anyway, I'm going number one. Train fight for me is the peak Spider-Man moment in cinema.
All right.
Because so it's all the build up to it as well. It's the fact that he hasn't been Spider-Man in a long time. Just before this scene, he steals his suit back from Jameson. It's his grand return to New York. He faces Doc Ock at the clock tower. And they have a great fight on the clock tower. I always love that moment where the hand falls off the tower. He webs the hand and throws it back up like a spear point at Doc Ock. Destroys the tower. They get down onto the train together. And I love the action because he's getting thrown on, off, and around the train. He has to save civilians. Doc Ock is throwing off the train. And then ultimately he's got to stop the train from crashing. It's just an entire three-dimensional set piece. Like if the train is going right down the middle, they're going all the way around it in 3 dimensions. Even inside it. Just any way you can think of. And then the big climax is when he has to stop the train. And I love even the little moments, like he slips and falls at one point, and his feet are sticky, so they stick to the side, and he's just flat like a board on the side, and then kind of throws himself back up. And I like the little interactions with the New Yorkers on there. Any more bright ideas? Yeah, a few. Starts with whipping. He's whipping the buildings up. He's holding the train. His suit's tearing. He's using all his strength here to get the train to a stop. But then I like how it keeps going beyond that. It wasn't just that he saved the train in a great rescue with a lot of tension and obstacles in his way that he had to think his way out of. It's the fact that he was going to fall over the precipice unconscious, and then
New York saves him.
And then New York saves him. They put their hands on his chest and hold him from falling off, and they hold him back into the subway. And
careful, he's a hero.
Yeah. And then the one guy, he's just a kid, no older than my son.
Mm-hmm.
And they see him without his mask on, and then the kids give him his mask back, and then once again, it's the extra moments. It's Doc Ock comes back at this point after a nice moment of, hey, we're not going to tell anybody, by the way, thanks for saving us here. And then Doc Ock comes, he's mine. If you want to get to him, you got to go through me, and me, and me. They all crowd him in, and then Doc Ock just, he swipes them casually out of the way. But they were going to stand up for him. They put themselves in harm's way as a body shield against Spider-Man. Because he was going to sacrifice himself for them. If they didn't catch him, he probably would have fallen to his death there when he went unconscious. But it's just the ultimate Spider-Man scene because it's got everything you could possibly want. He's doing his duty. He just came back from a very long leave of absence where he finally re-embraced his responsibility. He comes back, he's fighting the villain, he's saving civilians, he's doing acrobatics in the streets, he's got a 3-dimensional fight around a really fast moving object. It's fast, it's kinetic, He's saving people. He has to use his smarts to have a really cool save. He's got interactions with New Yorkers. New Yorkers step in the way. And in the end, he still gets knocked flat on his ass and loses. It's like the perfect Spider-Man sequence. It's everything we've been talking about today, encapsulating the character. What he stands for, what generally happens to him in the line of duty, what he does, how his smarts save the day, and how New York rallies around him. I think in terms of all Spider-Man cinema, it's the most representative of, just everything we like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't comment much on it because
and then just get to the thing I missed. Just say it.
Yeah.
Just say the line. Say it.
The one I thought for sure you'd have on there. With great power comes great responsibility. Enough said. No, I will comment a little bit. A line so iconic that it's been twisted to be in every form. But in Raimi's Spider-Man, it's just so well done.
Yeah.
You can't have a Spider-Man without it. It's great. I don't want to talk about it too much because it really speaks for itself. It's iconic for a reason.
Well, what I think is most compelling about that scene to me is that he rejects it outright.
Mm-hmm.
He really, like I was joking about earlier, he really takes that, yeah, whatever, old man attitude with it. It really doesn't sink in whatsoever. He's just like, you have no idea what I'm going through right now. Don't try to act like what you went through as a teenager is in any way comparable to this. I don't want to hear your advice. And to top it off, you're not my father.
Mm-hmm. And the actor who plays Uncle Ben did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. I still wish we got to see a scene like this for Tom Holland. All we got was Iron Boy Jr.'s Iron Man speech. That was like...
I mean, Aunt May gave him the speech when she died.
She got... Yeah. It was just too bad that...
Yeah. I thought that was a good subversion of, we never saw Uncle Ben, so when Aunt May dies, she's gonna...
She gave him
the
speech.
After so long of Iron Boy Jr., and we never got... the great power thing, but...
It's not a lesson that Iron Man could give out, I don't think.
But that's just what I really liked about No Way Home, though, is like you said, Iron Man couldn't have given out that lesson because he never really learned it himself. And he meets all these different versions of Spider-Man, and he finally gets that with great power comes great responsibility. And he puts it to the test right after when he's out for blood, out for vengeance against Green Goblin, and he's got to learn to hold himself back at that point and then be on his own. And, he could have, to save the universe, he made sure everybody forgot him. He put, he did the other Spider-Man lesson where he put the needs of the many above his own. And classic Peter Parker got screwed for it. But he also didn't regret it because he knew it was what was right. So No Way Home is really Tom Holland's journey to becoming all the Spider-Man tropes that we know.
Yeah, that's
why I liked it so much.
This scene would have been either at your top or close to your top, just because to me, the thing that puts Spider-Man is by far the most popular Marvel character. And I think the reason is because he's like Superman. He has a very distinct message. He has very distinct messages and morals behind his stories.
Which is funny because he's kind of the opposite of Superman, but he's like, where Superman represents DC and their ideals the best, Spider-Man represents Marvel's ideals the best.
Yeah, that's what I mean when...
to me, Superman is he is the guy who's just very good and very, not completely infallible, but in most situations, he's the guy who knows best or has the moral high ground in a room, and he's the guy you look up to because of it. He's always a little bit better than you. Whereas Spider-Man is the Marvel epitome of he's a hero just as flawed as you, but he does the right thing anyway.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things that sets Spider-Man apart from every other Marvel hero. If you start throwing Marvel heroes out there at me and you're like, oh, you know, what's the big message? What's the meaning behind this character? It's going to take me a bit to come up with it. Spider-Man, though, you know it.
He's got a driving ethos.
You got...
Same way with Superman, really. I mean, Superman's got truth, justice in the American way. Spider-Man's got great power comes great responsibility.
But even beyond that, he's got more meanings to him. There's more to it, and I find that Spider-Man is one of the only Marvel characters that has so many different layers of what it means to be a hero is what Spider-Man is all about to me.
It's constant sacrifice. It's putting the needs of the many above your own.
And I think that's the connection I make to Superman is he represents the same thing, what it means to be a hero. Yes. And I think that's why Spider-Man is by far and above the best Marvel character there is.
Yeah. They're the two epitomes of what each brand represents about heroism. Marvel and DC both have different outlooks on the nature of heroism, but they're the two best representatives for their own companies that way. I
mean, if you go back to we call it superheroes, right? So having a character whose message is what it means to be a hero is very important for this genre, this idea of being a superhero.
Yep.
And I think that's what's missing from a lot of characters is, sure, they've got messages, they've got stuff, but they might be a hero, but
think about, okay, let me tell you another avenue for this. It's not just about the main character. In a lot of other superhero movies, main characters are very selfish with their specific motives, and they'll end up saving the world. Great. Basically, every Spider-Man movie takes pains to show his supporting cast and New York at large around him, the random people he interacts with on his daily beat. Even in Homecoming, Spider-Man do a backflip. Like, you never see Tony Stark interact with people like that.
No.
Or even Steve Rogers, who is generally considered the epitome of heroism in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it's Spider-Man's grassroots connection to average, ordinary people. And the fact that the movies show us these things, it's not just about him. It's about the world he lives in and what he has to do to keep it running.
Well, and I think that's another thing is that anybody could be Spider-Man. And that's another message that goes through. Like, it's more spelled out, and like Amazing Spider-Man touches on that more. But that is a part of Spider-Man is anybody could be Spider-Man. Anyone could have been, gotten bitten by the spider and become Spider-Man. And, it really leans into that. Anybody could be a hero, but what does it mean to truly be a hero? Right?
Yes.
And I don't know, there's something about that message in Spider-Man that I really like. I don't care if in Raimi's Spider-Man, sure, the scene we're talking about right now, you're spoon-fed the message a little bit there. And I usually don't like that. I like it here.
Yeah. I think it's because of the execution. You're spoon-fed the message, but also the hero doesn't understand the message until the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're told the point right up front, and you can be like him and be like, yeah, I understand perfectly right away. Or you can be like him and be like, okay, I hear the words, but I don't really get it until the movie plays out.
Honestly, when you hear that line, it's hard to comprehend it without an example. It is actually a hard message to understand, despite being fairly simple. It is hard to understand.
And you see the rest of the movie, him screwing up. The next thing he does immediately is abuse his power and go into the wrestling ring just for glory and money, etc. Until the end of the movie, where he's, once again, okay, I've made a lot of mistakes. This is what I do now. I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the second movie, he's like, okay, well, maybe let's take a break. Maybe let's live for me for a little bit. And then, that went very badly. And then the third movie, he kind of tries to find a balance, but he like way too aggressive. And then the Amazing Spider-Man's different arc. But yeah, we went on a very long time discussing Spider-Man, but we're passionate. A lot of you are passionate about Spider-Man as well. These are good movies. Some of the best moments in these movies to best represent what this character means and why he is an enduring icon and will continue to endure.
Yep.
I hope. What's the next one called? Brand New Days, good next year, and Beyond the Spider-Verse is good the year after that. Keep going with the good Spider-Man content.
I think there'll always be Spider-Man stuff. That's it. Even if the superhero genre dies out, Spider-Man will still be around.
I really do think Spider-Man is the most generally popular superhero.
Probably.
Like, I know a lot of people love Batman, but I feel like if you ask your average person who also loves Batman, if they love Spider-Man, basically everybody loves Spider-Man. I haven't yet met a person who doesn't like Spider-Man or would rank Spider-Man at least in their top 2.
Yeah. No, he's good.
Which, I mean, even me who, like, I always say Daredevil's my favorite Marvel hero, but, like, Spider-Man is always there in the back of my mind. A lot of times I'm like, nearly half the time I feel like I should say he's my favorite Marvel hero besides Spider-Man, which, yeah, I mean, so sometimes I'm like, yeah, Daredevil's my favorite. Other times I'm like, but Spider-Man.
It's too typical to pick Spider-Man as your favorite. You got to pick something else because everybody will say Spider-Man's their favorite.
Yeah, because there's a reason.
Yeah.
It's the same reason you ask, like, who's my favorite DC character? Well, for me, it's Superman, but a lot of people would say Batman. But you'd feel bad saying Batman because you're like, oh, everyone's going to say Batman.
I'm not going to say Batman. I don't actually particularly like Batman. I like Blue Beetle.
You're Blue Beetle guy. Yeah. One specific version out of 3.
Well, they're all okay, but the one's pretty good.
Yeah. And yes, is now a good time to we're already running long, so I'll just casually mention that you're very strongly of the belief that Homecoming ripped off Blue Beetle.
It did. It distinctly did. It stole it. It gave him the suit that talks to. It's like, I watched Homecoming, and the first thing I thought of as I'm watching the movie, he's got like, a powered. I'm like, this is just what a Blue Beetle movie would be. Oh my god, it's terrible. And then they're like, yeah, we're doing a Blue Beetle movie. I'm like, they're just gonna make Homecoming again, aren't they? Because they already did the Blue Beetle movie in Marvel. I was not very happy with that, but
I figured I had to let you get that rant out at least once ever. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at jchurchtpm.
You can find me on Instagram at ThoughtPlane Media, and check out thoughtplane.ca for everything else we do. There's hundreds of posts there for free, and you can donate $1 or $2 there if you like our work and you're feeling generous. We hope to see you on the next close-up. Till next time.
Iron Boy Jr. is better than... No, the other way around. Blue Beetle's better than Iron Boy Jr. Oh no.
Check yourself,